Coming up, cleaning up the Jenny Wiley State Park is not easy, but one group has made it their mission to do just that free of charge. And while Tropical Depression Barry may not bring much chaos to eastern Kentucky from the skies, it could cause some chaos in our wallets. Plus, we take a look at the opening weekend of Bloodsong, the story of the Hatfields and McCoys.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning and happy Monday to you. Today is July 15th. The time is about 5:31. Let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Brandon, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Good morning to you. Another week. We are into dog days, and when I was off last week, I actually ran into somebody in the store, and they confirmed with me that it actually started earlier than I thought it did. It was early July, so dog days in effect. So let's take a look, see what's going on this morning. Up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain there, US 119, you can see the clouds cycling through, and that's going to be a big factor for us today at times. Close to zero visibility across parts of southwest Virginia and East Tennessee, so be aware of that. Pinpoint Doppler radar, nice and quiet so far. Temperatures mild and muggy, upper 60s close to 70 or above. Your day planner, we're going to see temperatures dime just a little bit more into the upper 60s, but mostly cloudy skies to partly cloudy skies throughout the day, and then rain chances increase in the heat of the day this afternoon. Full forecast on the way here in just a few minutes. Connor?
All right, thanks, Brandon. Cleaning up the Jenny Wiley State Park is not easy, but one group has made it their mission. Friends of Jenny Wiley work year-round to make sure visitors are safe. WYMT's Marianne Fletcher tagged along yesterday's cleanup to learn why they work hard for free.
Keeping a park clean is not easy, especially when it is 1,200 acres of beautiful terrain and 1,100 acres of lake views.
We feel like Jenny Wiley State Park is one of the nicest places in eastern Kentucky.
Friends of Jenny Wiley would like to keep it that way.
What we're trying to do is enhance the park.
Jim Stewart is the vice president of the nonprofit organization.
We're lucky in eastern Kentucky to have a park like this. It's unbelievable how cool it is.
Sunday morning, members made it their mission to tidy up the trails.
Those make sure they're clean, easy, and there's no problems.
And install new garbage cans.
Hopefully, that way there'll be less garbage thrown down.
Group President Brittany Branham says organizations like this are vital to the park.
I think it's very important. It kind of gives people a sense of community, a sense of stewardship.
But even with 75 members, they still have more room for volunteers on their team.
You're more than welcome to come help the Friends of Jenny Wiley anytime you want.
Keeping the trails clean in Floyd County. Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
The group also cleans the lake by boat. Friends of Jenny Wiley meets on the last Wednesday of every month. If you would like to join, you can contact the organization on Facebook. Then you could be seeing higher gas prices thanks to Tropical Storm Barry. Rising oil prices have been causing the national average price of gas to increase in recent weeks, but the storm could cause some of the country's major gasoline refineries to shut down and drive prices even higher. There could also be supply problems. Overwhelming rain could also cause some refinery outages and constrict fuel supplies along the Gulf Coast. Flooding is on the minds of many whose homes are along the coast in Louisiana, including a Kentucky native now living outside of New Orleans. Jennifer Collins is originally from Pikeville and for the last 2 decades has called the suburbs of New Orleans home. She's seen a fair amount of wind and rain, but says so far Barry hasn't been that bad.
Oh, I've dealt with worse before. I went through Katrina.
The storm has caused major refineries to shut down, likely leading to gasoline supply problems. And 20 years of racing is in the books at the Kentucky Speedway. There is one constant theme at in Sparta and with the drivers who have won the race. Here's more from our sister station WXIX in Cincinnati.
It has become a signature part of the Kentucky Speedway experience.
It's different than the old Kentucky.
It's not the driver's signatures or the signatures on the track.
Kentucky Speedway is like fine wine.
It's the age-old question that comes back every single year.
How has the track changed character?
It's a little bit faster, I'd say. Definitely a lot smoother.
Yes, it's the one constant that never changes in Sparta. The monster mile-and-a-half question about the track and its personality.
The trouble is the banking. I think it's an odd track.
I think the track just needs a little bit more character. You know, it just needs. It's all about time. You know,
if you listen closely,
and I think it's going to be a couple years until
they almost sound like
it's close to where it was before.
Excuses.
No matter how many times they paved it, it's still the same thing to fight.
So after 20 years of racing here in Sparta, 9 years of cup racing, it feels like there's a lot of opinion on the character of this track before the repay 3 years ago and now after the repay. But for the guys who have won a lot here, those guys seem to always quote Florida Georgia Line's song. If it's meant to be, it'll be.
You go every week with good vibes. I've won at every track, so even though they change the asphalt, the tires change, all that sort of stuff. And some places, Bristol's gone through 3 reconfigurations since I've been around, and we've won on all of them.
Through all the twists and turns in 20 years of racing at Kentucky, the victory lanes and the champagne, Kentucky remains true to itself. A track that challenges the best in NASCAR with its ever-changing bag of tricks.
I think the track has plenty of character. The fact that both ends are so different. It's getting bumpy again. I feel like you're going, you come off of 2 and you feel like you're going 180 and you get to 3 and it looks like a parking lot you're driving into. It's just dead flat and there's, the track's wide, but you just feel like you're going straight for the fence through the middle on the exit. So it's got plenty of character and it's a really tricky place.
Last night, the Jenny Wiley Amphitheater hosted a well-known Kentucky story. It was the opening weekend of Blood Song, the story of the Hatfields and McCoys. The production is in its 6th season from the Hatfield and McCoy Arts Council in McCarr. Samantha West with Prestonsburg Tourism says you may recognize one actor. Prestonsburg Mayor Les Stapleton played a role in the production.
He kept thinking about it. He said, I think I can do it. I said, I think you can too. And he's been wonderful, and his whole family has been such a great support. So we're, it truly is community at its core on every level, and we're very happy about that.
According to organizers, Blood Song is the official state play for the feud. If you missed this weekend's showing, don't worry. You can catch the show every Friday and Sunday until the last show on Tuesday, the 23rd. Well, last night was the perfect night to spend outside with Shakespeare's Under the Stars. The EKU Appalachian Shakespeare Center is putting a unique twist on a classic play. WKYT's Olivia Russell shows us how the performers are switching up Much Ado About Nothing.
Shakespeare is reaching more parts of eastern Kentucky, all thanks to the Appalachian Shakespeare Center.
Shakespeare traditionally has been very popular. It's the most produced playwright in the world and by far the most produced playwright in America.
This summer's production, Much Ado About Nothing.
It's very fast and witty, very romantic comedy, and then a little bit of tragedy thrown in there for good measure.
Believe this without trial.
This production of Much Ado About Nothing is set in the World War II time period. That twist is exactly what the Appalachian Shakespeare Center wants to teach: creativity. They say it's a lesson that can be used on and off the stage.
Anytime you do theater, you work together to create a story and tell a story and share it with the audience and choose to pretend and choose to believe in that pretend thing and make it real, which is basically what we do in society every day.
Not only do they perform, the group also travels to schools in eastern Kentucky, teaching kids about Shakespeare and giving them freedom to create whatever they want with it.
There's a lot of choice in there, but some groups have done performances, some have done visual art. It's amazing how they just take it and they just run with it when we really explain what those words mean and we give them the context.
Now that they're in their 2nd year, the Appalachian Shakespeare Center says it wants to reach even more people.
Right now we're still growing and we're still very small, but we've got big plans.
In Lexington, Olivia Russell, WKYT.
Much Ado About Nothing will be in Richmond at the Revenue at EKU for the next 2 weekends. The shows are free. And an update to a golden alert we told you about yesterday. Pulaski County deputies say they found Bobby Wood Sunday afternoon. He fell down a 60-foot bluff behind a neighbor's house. Wood went missing around 5 on Sunday morning from his home on Cliffside Drive. He was flown to the hospital to be treated for his injuries. Wood is 79 years old. And we have a road closing to pass along to you this morning. The Kentucky Department of Highways will be temporarily closing a portion of Old Jellicoe Creek Road at the intersection of KY 92 in Whitley County starting today. The closing, which is expected to last 4 weeks, is part of the Kentucky 92 realignment project. Drivers will have a detour available to get around the construction. Well, the nonprofit With Love from Harlem posted on their Facebook about an opportunity for Black Jewel miners to help with their utility bills. In a post, the organization announced that Father Jim Sicko will be at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Harlem this morning at 10 o'clock. Father Sicko will pay one electric bill per family as long as funds lasts. Well, in her 60-year history, Barbie has undergone hundreds of transformations, but the doll is now going nowhere the doll has gone before.
Dog days have set in. That means our daily rain chances and hot temps will continue. We're tracking a possible heavy rainmaker later this week. All the latest details on that in about 3 minutes.